background to the Attlee-Truman discussions, 1 million people cram New York Central Park to hear the president outline America's stand on atomic power.
There has been talk about the atomic bomb. We must find the answer to the problems created by the release of atomic energy. Indeed, the highest hope of the American people is that world cooperation for peace will soon reach such a state of perfection that atomic methods of destruction can be definitely and effectively outlawed forever.
Осталось 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4. Нажатие кнопки, все осветилось ярчайшим.
Far beyond normal shipping routes they lie, and until 1952, only pearl fishing boats entered the blue waters and left the cliffs surrounding their shores.
By the French authorities, but this picture is impressive evidence of the bomb.
The great result of the cooperation of education with research. This is another victory.
Emergency alert system capabilities.
This is an emergency action notification.
National alert and warning authorities, in coordination with emergency alert system participants.
My fellow Americans, as you know, our attempts at preventing nuclear war have failed.
Finally, Mars has accepted my sacrifices and unleashes me.
I see you, enemy. I see you, enemy. Enemy! Enemy! You are my enemy! And I swear total resistance to you with everything I've got. Disingenuous, fake, false, broke back, twisted, a defiler, a betrayer, a backstabber, a devil! You will pay. Yeah, you think I don't see your face, scum? You don't think I don't see you? I see you, you understand me? I know what you think of me and my family. I see you right back. You understand that? You understand that? You will fall! You will not bring humanity down! God is going to destroy you!
R.I.P. Mitten Squad. The man, the myth, the legend is gone. So we are going to watch some Mitten Squad stuff and just chill out today. In honor of all of his work for the Fallout community. I found out about it today. I don't know if I'm late to the game, but Paul was battling a pretty serious problem with alcoholism and had all kinds of health complications. I think he had like pancreatitis or some kind of stuff like that. And I don't know. So we're going to pay tribute to him and just chill out for a while.
I have some unfortunate, sad news. Apparently, Paul from Mitten Squad has passed away at the age of only 27, and there are some issues involving that. We'll talk about that in just a second because it is kind of important. He stopped making videos about a year ago because of that, and again, we'll get to that in a moment here. For those that didn't know, Mitten Squad made gaming challenge videos for Fallout and Skyrim and a bunch of others, where he would give himself ridiculous challenges. Can you beat the game without jumping? Can you beat the game by never talking to any of the characters or not taking damage or only using this weapon or some other obscure thing that was essentially a joke weapon or garbage? And he would beat the entire game with it. And he did a great job. They were very entertaining. I watched his channel on a pretty regular basis. He does stuff kind of similar to what Yamfa does now. However, whereas Yamfa would use subtitles, Mitten Squad would narrate his own videos, and he would do so in the most dry, flat, monotone voice you could possibly imagine. It kind of reminds me a little bit of Norm Macdonald and how he would deliver jokes. He would tell this story, and he would say it in the most flat, dry, monotone way possible, and then he would hit you with the punchline. It would be hilarious. And Mitten Squad did kind of the same thing, and it was great. And now, of course, the question is this real or fake? Did he actually pass away? And unfortunately, it does seem to be the case. I know that sometimes on social media, people will joke about certain celebrities or YouTubers having passed away when that is definitely not the case. Just recently, Az from Heel vs. Babyface had a big thing where people were saying, you know, RIP Az, because it was a joke that he had missed one of the live streams or something, and therefore he had passed away. But with this case, unfortunately, it is true. Mitten Squad has passed away. It's been said by several locations as well as an actual obituary for him. This is a real website from a real funeral home, and that is Mitten Squad right there. He has passed away. So now I need to go into some of the situation, right? He stopped making videos about a year ago. You can see right here that his most recent video was a year ago. And the reason why he stopped making videos was because he had an extreme, and I mean extreme, addiction to alcohol. And he had been brought to the hospital several occasions. He would get frequently blackout drunk. He ended up getting pancreatitis from it and some other health issues. And that does appear to be what has led to his death at the age of 27. Now, I want to kind of go off just a little bit here because my own family had a lot of problems with alcoholism. There was a lot of damage that had been done. Now, thankfully, some of those people have been dry. They've been sober for over 20 years now. And myself, for those that have been around on my channel or my gaming channel for years, they know that I have never drank alcohol ever, which is admittedly kind of an extreme reaction to my own family's alcoholism. But the thing is it's no joke. Like, it's a serious problem. And unfortunately, Mitten Squad did suffer from that. He had pretty extreme alcoholism, and it unfortunately led to his demise at the age of only 27, which is tragic because he was a great content creator, a great entertainer. From all accounts, it seems like he was a great person as well. And, you know, 27 is just way too young, and this sort of thing can be avoided. If you have an issue with it, or if you know somebody that has an issue with it, don't just brush it off, right? It is a big problem. either you need to get help or you need to make sure that your friend or your family gets help as well, because it's no joke, unfortunately. And now we have someone who has been taken far too early from us.
If you enjoyed the video or learned anything, leave a like. Leave a dislike if you didn't enjoy the video or didn't learn anything.
I don't know what his personal beliefs were, but I certainly hope that he's in a better place now. And as he would say, this is where the real game begins.
I'm taking shots at the enemy. I'm gonna make it to the top, leave a legacy. If I got some...
So yeah, if you've never seen a Mitten Squad video, they're super funny, really entertaining, especially if you are a Fallout or Skyrim freak. If you're a Fallout and Skyrim freak and you've never seen a Mitten Squad video, then I don't even think you're probably a freak, a Fallout or Skyrim freak. But yeah, so we'll check out some of his stuff. Let's see. Let's start with some of the good ones because I don't know how long I'm going to be on. Can you be Fallout New Vegas if every door is randomized? That's got to be good. I've seen it before, but it's been a while since I've seen this.
Every door in Fallout New Vegas goes to a specific predefined location. If you open a door in a building in Cottonwood Cove, you don't expect to end up at a casino on the Strip. So what would happen if every door throughout the entire game went somewhere completely unpredictable? Can you beat Fallout New Vegas if every door is randomized? Rooms and world spaces in Fallout New Vegas are officially called cells. The entire Mojave Wasteland as a world space is a cell, but so are all the individual locations within it. Doc Mitchell's house, the Hoover Dam offices, the Leggett's camp, the Boulder Dome, the vaults, Zion Canyon, Mr. House's penthouse, the narrator's room, all of it. You can think of a cell as what exists on the other side of a door with a loading screen. Normally, you'd walk up to a door, press a button to open it, and you travel to the location displayed next to your crosshair. From the outside, activating the Prospector Saloon door loads you into the saloon. There's a connection between the door and where you're placed after the brief loading screen. What I've gone and done is found a mod that f***s with that connection. Doors no longer send you to their normal predetermined destination. A couple do. I think I found 3 safety doors, just to keep the universe from becoming completely unplayable. I've dreamed of this challenge for such a long time. What I failed to mention is the door randomizer will not be the only randomizer at play here. My original idea for this challenge was the cabin in the woods, the scene down in the basement with all the cells and the monsters wreaking havoc, causing cavities, all that shit. As neat and as fascinating as it would be to have all the connections between your senses severed, it's just not enough. I want to smell with my skin and taste with my retinas. To that end, I activated the original, tried and true, classic, barely a year old Fallout New Vegas randomizer mod as well. The world randomizer deals with the big picture stuff. The frame, the framework, the glass covering up the sky, while the other randomizer messes with just about everything else. Weather effects are randomized. NPCs can spawn with any combination of weapons and armor, and any creature that isn't a person is randomized too. Every single room is an Omicron fever dream of possibilities. I've got one more surprise in store, but I'll save that bombshell for later. The curtains have been drawn back. That's my cue to be born. Doc Mitchell asked me what my name was, and I immediately started up the mind games by naming myself Doc Mitchell. I've always wanted to say someone else's name back at them when introducing myself. I just don't have the moxie to pull it off. Special and skills are randomized right off the bat, no need to mess with them. Wouldn't know what I was doing anyway. Skills are in the same boat. I let Jesus take the stick. Starting off with science feels wrong. Wild Wasteland is a must, and I did a quick smash and grab in the doctor's office before setting off for Destination Imagination. Containers and lootable objects have all their items randomized too. Some do still stick to their theme. Medical crates have usual medical supplies like forceps and a bloody sausage. Ammo boxes will have some of their lead copper doohickeys, you get the idea. The door to Good Springs is one of the few doors left untouched by the world randomizer. Outside, the Fallout 3 colors have invaded the West. Victor's a Brahmin. My 4th grade teacher is as lovely as ever, and the first mystery door is here. There was a choice at the beginning of the game. Leave door names intact or let them be a mystery. Before we do this, I just need to point out that I'm gonna do my honest to gosh best, but this is gonna be kind of tough to follow. Okay? Okay. The door to Chet's shop spit me out in Mitten, where I ran into Oliver Swanwick, whose head doesn't anymore, and the crucified profligates left to suffer in the sun. The Legion, those heartless heathens, killed a little boy on his birthday, then crucified the ghost. It's smart. You never hear about a ghost being tortured. A house led me to a Brotherhood safe house. Got some good stuff down there. The door to another house opened a portal to Nelson. More sad T-poses in town. This is no place for me. I went back to Nipton and jumped into Old World Blues by way of the Z9 Crotalus DNA Preservation Lab. Creatures of all shapes, makes, and models were down there being tested. Back somewhere, I took a turn and ended up at Camp McCarran. Not anticipating gambling, I baited the fiends into attacking NCR soldiers who didn't get the memo that this was a costume party. It's alright, I thought this was a work function too. By now, it hadn't dawned on me how f***ed up this would become. I assumed taking an NCR jumpsuit would help me. There were like 3 doors in between Camp McCarran and the Strip. Might as well be asking me to play Russian roulette with a shotgun. Better hope it jams. A door led me to the Big Empty, where they had a working monorail, and a tower that leads to the Sierra Madre. I told you this was a work thing. I don't need no extra collar to make my skull into an art piece on the ceiling. It is weird that I blew up in dead money without a collar on. I found a couple beds in Little Yahtzee, sealed off by radiation. I entered a cave, did an accident with a tripwire and a grenade. One blew me up, my body landed on another trap. That one detonated and it killed me. Not a fun place to be. Unlike usual playthroughs, I'm about to get ahead of myself. I played on normal. Please congratulate me in the comments for my bravery. Unlike normal, I was big into this challenge. I used many quick saves, but I didn't make a ton of manual saves. I didn't want to be reloading no saves when the going gets tough. When the going gets tough, the tough get going in the opposite direction. You can always run through the door you came from. On the topic of broad, challenge-spanning topics, let's talk strategy. There isn't one in the traditional sense. Doors don't change locations after you go through them. They're randomly generated with a seed that can only be changed from outside the game by editing a text file. So you go through the doors, start learning where they go. Maybe you find a shortcut. Maybe you find a pathway to the Lonesome Road in a Novak motel. Regardless of what you find, you'll have a completely unique pathway to navigate through New Vegas, held together by the glue of the overworld. I don't want to startle you. I haven't checked the compatibilities. You know the legendary effects from Fallout 4? There's a New Vegas mod for that. Add a permadeath and that mod onto these, and you've got something worth looking into. We were talking strategy and I got lost. Beating the game is the end goal. Given every door is random, the first step is exploring as many doors as possible to figure out which doors lead to locations you'll need to visit. When your objective is to talk to Mr. House in the Lucky 38, how do you plan on doing that when the door to the Lucky 38 doesn't send you into the Lucky 38 casino? You'd better pray to RNGesus for the odds to be in your favor. My story continued until it ground to a halt inside the Bright Brotherhood den. In their presence, I found myself in awe of their digital style and wanted to take it for myself. Despite all the strange characters I've killed so far, all the random items I've found, my supplies are still shockingly limited. Had it not been for the danger grenades I found, I'm not sure the Bright followers would have been wiped out. A side effect of random NPC heights is exponentially increased durability. Ever wonder why super mutants are so tough? It's a size thing. Damage resistance seems to scale with height. A couple extra inches gives anyone an advantage. One of the bodies was wearing Dean's holographic outfit from Dead Money. This is objectively the best armor in the game, not in terms of damage resistance or stat boosts. It makes your hands invisible in first person. Any weapon floats in midair. Guns take on a mind of their own, proving it's not a people problem, it's a gun problem. We're gonna have to kill the guns. And who better to aid in our fight than the boys in silly outfits guarding Hoover Dam? It sure does look different in the dead of night. The dam led me to Higgs Village, to a vault, and a sentry bot hooked on bathwater. In that vault, I found a hat named Slickback and was back on the right track. Headed to the Strip, ideally via Freeside. In my haste, I'd forgotten the gate counts as a door, and now the gate to Freeside opens to a waste disposal station currently being used as a house by a pregnant ant queen. The door to North Vegas Square just f***ed the late game by coming out of the old Dorito substation. There is one way into that room, and it's been destroyed. Me getting into that station in the future is now left up to chance. I hate to break it to you, Homeward Bound came out in '93. Things aren't looking good for Chance. After a quick trip to the Mesquite Mountain crater, I opened what I prayed would be the door to the North Vegas Medical Clinic. What I got was my old buddy, the elevator room from Lonesome Road. I've been stuck here before. Those instances didn't spawn me on the tracks. The elevator's not running, so I have the opportunity to run down the tracks myself until I hit that there invisible wall. I went back up the ramp and used my super jump to hop around the elevator, hoping to land on the platform above. With no way down, that door is my only way out. And where did it spit me? The bunker entrance to dead money, leaving me with quite literally no choice but to willingly activate the trap, get gassed, rigged with an explosive collar, and told to get to work. And all my stuff's gone, all but the DLC items and the problem solver. This tool loads you back through the previous door as a failsafe. So stupid, so lame, also completely worthless given my situation. I went back to dead money to find a proper way out. Storm lightened up a bit, easier to see around the world. Take in the sights and smells of the red waste. I spent longer here than I planned to. Finding a door that wasn't locked took 20 minutes. My jumping around outside the environment is most likely what kept the beeping collar from going off. When I have one, I'm fine. When I don't, I explode. What is this mod? At level 4, I noticed the perks are all random and slightly modulated. F***ed up by the mod, I guess. I didn't take them because I didn't want to compromise the integrity of this run. Also, the way out through that station was locked. Over time, with a solid majority of my limbs intact, I found a way out through the chairman's pool area. I went in the pool fully in cloth with all my clothes on, picked a great day to step in dog shit, and was finally back in the Mojave. I thought for a second after the gunrunners connected me to the guts of Hoover Dam that I could enter the Legates camp early. However, I discovered a direct connection between the dam and Cottonwood Cove. I have great plans for that, but I put them on hold to settle an age-old debate. Who has the nicer bathroom, girls or boys? Up first, the ladies had a warm fire, snacks, nice seating arrangements. The boys' bathroom is Boomer's headquarters. Oddly enough, that might have been Pearl's cabin I came out of. So one door in Cottonwood Cove leads to Hoover Dam, and by sheer fucking happenstance, the door next door goes to the Tops casino floor. NCR soldiers are at the casino, shitting away their shillings. Some of them wandered through the door, right into enemy territory just like I did. I'm naked, rigged to explode, holding a cop's gun waiting to kill a guy, but I'm not a fucking animal. As for dealing with Benny and his comrades, well, let's just say I didn't have a whole lot of confidence in me. I figured my best bet was to VATS a headshot on each of them for assured damage, run away, and hope they perish in the ensuing chaos. I tried that one time before retreating in search of better gear. I found none, but I had me an idea. Legion are on the other side of those doors. We've already seen people pass through. The plan is foolproof. Piss off the chairman and lure them through the portal to Legion territory where they'll be chopped into bite-sized pieces. Alternatively, at least kill Benny and get the chip and make it to Legion land safe and sound. I refused to put on armor. I couldn't survive in that shooting gallery with no armor or stimpaks. The plan worked like a charm. The chairman followed me across the wasteland. The big man didn't need guns. I went for the knees, just like I said I would. It worked. I survived, and checked out a few of the other doors in the casino to see where they lead. One goes to the inside of a cabin. That's neat. Another goes to the inside of a different cabin. That's neat. One's locked, and the other goes back to everyone's favorite misty hell, the Sierra Madre Casino. A door there placed me in Big Empty, where conveniently Father Elijah's laser rifle was waiting to give me the upper hand against the chairman. After using one of my last remaining healing items, Benny and I engaged in the final battle to decide the fate of the entire universe, and my game crashed. You're lucky I'm the one doing this. My iMac was purpose-built to handle this kind of workload. Your Nvidia just doesn't cut it anymore. They called it a GPU because it stinks. Unable to win that fight, I went back and forth between areas in quick succession to mess with their AI and prevent them from coming through the door. In the camp the tower guarded, I picked fights I could win by antagonizing Yangtze camp survivors, then hiding behind a couple picnic tables where they couldn't attack me. In the aftermath, I looted the camp for supplies and quickly realized what was so special about this place. Why it was secluded in a dome in Nevada. They were keeping my dress here. I wasn't ready to wear it. I had to eliminate Benny first. Every time I failed, I emerged from the darkness ready to try again. He f***ed up. His hand slipped off the gun. I had my moment. I struck that motherfucker dead, grabbed the chip, evaded the onslaught of the chairman, and escaped to Cottonwood Cove, where I jumped up to the roof, out of anyone's line of sight, enabled the free cam, and watched as a war broke out amongst the factions. It never broke out. The chairman lost interest in finding me. I swam a safe distance away, disengaged my jaw, and gulped water until the sky turned a funny shade of pink. The age-old question's here again. How the effing f*** do I get to the main story? According to the quest log and the map, I can get to Benny's room by following this exact path. Naturally, I jumped right to the end, near the final waypoint in Novak. Met Boone, who has nowhere to go during the night, so he just stands there waiting for his next shift. Got some vibes that I couldn't quite place in this town. I didn't like that one bit. Thank God I'm easily distracted. I may not have any conceivable way to make any more progress in the main story, but I do have this. All I could do was wander around, opening any door I could find, hoping for Mr. House's penthouse, a level in the Brotherhood's bunker, Benny's room, the El Dorado substation, the Leggett's camp, or an assortment of others. A friend of Frank Horrigan's took a job at the secluded ranger station in Jacobstown Forest. Jacobstown is near Red Rock Canyon, in theory. It's close, but there are invisible walls, preventing those of us with good legs from reaching their full potential. I backtracked to Good Springs to take a trip through the art exhibit formerly known as Cazador Canyon. Robots blasted me from afar not long after I approached. The next time around, I took out one of their group members from a distance at random and retreated to the hills. I don't have the quest to meet the Red Rockers yet. I spoke to Regis anyway. The Khans are one of the factions you can satisfy with a single interaction. That's done, maybe. Next stop, Paul needs food, badly, and ammo, and a jumpsuit that didn't belong to a dead kid. More importantly, I need the locations I mentioned. Crimson Caravan offered up several doors to explore. I can't stress enough how thrilling and futile this challenge felt. All the necessary locations are out of reach. When I hit the Great Wall of Inevitability, my brain resorted to primal tactics. Get inside Hidden Valley. I know the door to the bunker won't go to the bunker. For the life of me and all these powder gangers, I couldn't think of a better idea. For all the hours I've put into New Vegas, I drew a complete blank at how to beat the game. It's okay, don't panic just yet. I've got my invisible hands back in the form of a slutty hologram outfit. Everything is gonna be okay. There's a giant alpha mother deathclaw lurking at Hidden Valley. Everything is not gonna be okay. I picked her babies off first. Hollow points pack the most punch, and overkill sends a message that you need a hearing aid. Switching to your sidearm is always faster than reloading. I hit that deathclaw with 15, 20, maybe 25 308 hollow points, and that sick had half its health left. I threw time bombs in its general direction. I singed its skin off with a laser gun. I discovered Hidden Valley and hightailed it out of there. My long-lost brother Tromp Lewis was sporting a fantastic smile. Snuffles disappointed us all. And on my way to 188 Trading Post to abduct a friend, I was ambushed by a powder ganger hit squad. I freaked, ran off into a cave. The garbanzos followed me directly into a blind deathclaw's den. It cried out in Morse code as it died. Sadly, I couldn't understand any of it. Upped my hat game. A mantis's claw fell into my arm. A dead body awarded me an alien blaster. A Nightkin set a new home run derby world record with Clifford's most prized possession. Of course, when I kill Clifford and take it, it turns into an advertisement. Veronica at 188 Trading Post was my next destination. This prospector had the audacity to be roaming the wasteland in her birthday suit. To teach her a lesson, I chopped her up. You wear clothes when you go outside. With 2 sleeping bags worth upwards of 4,400 caps each, I stocked up on ammo from Alexander below 188. Met an angel, took her wings for myself, gave her a mask in return, and returned to the hidden bunker, knowing I would not get inside. Unbeknownst to me, disaster was about to strike. A bug reared its ugly head, back from the dead to ruin everything. Both NPC and door name tags are broken. They don't show up. I have no way of knowing where a door goes until I go through it. Some of you might think this would improve the challenge. I felt it did more harm than good. I don't remember where anything is, and I wouldn't expect you to be able to remember it either. At the very least, I needed a way to know which doors I've already gone through. I don't have that anymore. Plus the NPCs. I can't tell who anyone is unless I talk to them or use VATS to scan them, or as a hideous third choice, open fire to turn them hostile and get their health bar to pop up. I've made no progress since Benny died? Let's correct that by going to NAFB. I'll have to meet certain factions to finish the story, and a handful of NPCs can be caught outside in the wilderness as a part of their existence loop. Meet Pearl as she's walking to her house, pass a 20 speech check, and the boomers are finished. Unsure of which cabin was hers, I climbed up to the roof and observed silently from above, waiting for Pearl to show herself. Her house is here. What's inside is anyone's guess, which means Pearl could be on the strip dancing in a fountain, losing her marbles as she becomes a lobotomite in the Great Khan's camp. There's no way to know where she is. Doors don't go where they're supposed to. NPCs are trained to open those doors and go through them regardless of where they lead. Pearl is a lost cause. The midget freak put the fear of God in me. A war against the boomers didn't feel like a winnable campaign. You know who loves war more than a 15-year-old on Discord? The Brotherhood of Steel. A door here leads to their bunker. Initiates couldn't be here otherwise. I began my search. Shack 1 is where Raoul's being locked up. Shack 2 is a second pathway to the chairman's pool room. I'd have been annoyed had it not been for the rotisserie-style saw-bladed power fist. Only those who escaped survived my massacre at the pool. Among the victims were NCR soldiers. They were among the survivors as well. Word spreads fast. The troopers on the dam attacked me for what I'd done to their brothers with arms. In return, I cut their king's head off with a blade and returned to my dusty roots in Good Springs. Sunny Smiles agreed to meet me around the back of the saloon for shooting advice. She'll get there eventually. I picked the lock on the saloon door and entered a Brotherhood bunker. Couldn't say which one. Post-processing graphics enhancing software froze the tape, letting me inspect a window I made with my face when I attempted to clip through the door by quick-saving. I see crates. Lots of crates. My god, that's a lot of crates. Whether this is or isn't the correct bunker is tough to say. The Brotherhood have like 4 bunkers. One bunker's filled with debris. I saw through the door that there's crates in here, and the room I'm in is empty. Can't be in that bunker. Another bunker's an NCR Ranger hideout. It's not that one. Then there's the real bunker and maybe this one. I didn't check the map to see. Veronica's unwillingness to come to my aid for any reason in any video ensured Brotherhood hostility should I succeed in clipping through the door. Here's the twist. The door I need to go through to get to the real bunker is the door I came in through. See, that's the beauty of playing in the 4-dimensional funhouse. You lose track of basic common sense. You run into a crowded room with a sword, start avenging your wife, and predictably die. The bouncers will be so mad they disrespect your body. Yes, I'm still wearing the hologram outfit instead of armor. If I've told you twice, I've told you once. Fashion over function, always and forever. Why do you think I chose this character preset before I was born? I'm being efficient. Sooner or later, I showed up in Gamora's underbelly, eliminated Troik to upset the Omertas, a tunnel snake did a dance, and my quest to leave the casino began. Lord have mercy, yes he does, but don't believe the hype. It's not what it's cracked up to be. By virtue of the way grenades work, the gamblers joined Angel and the Omertas in hating me. Veronica served no purpose other than being a distraction. After one of the thugs dropped Annabelle on her barrel, I hoisted her up with my invisible hands and high-explosive missiled the living beings in the next room. A certain someone we won't talk about wasn't pleased with my actions in the casino. A cloud of darkness latched itself onto me and followed me until the end of my days, which in a shocking turn of events would come sooner rather than later. Knowing this, I was offered up a gift for both eyes. My left, the analytical side, a dancing skeleton. For all the righties out there, for all the people who lost the use of their hands in a farm accident, Todd, this one's for you, buddy. I left the twins to dance forever. The delicate balance between fact and fiction must be maintained at all times. I get the kids Murray the Mole Man mask though. Outside, my sense of sense started to malfunction. I couldn't see right. I tried to enter the Lucky 38. It led to an NCR outpost, and I waited the weather away. The dark is so drab and dreary, hard to make out what's going on in a "this video sucks, I can't see what he's doing" kind of way. I assume you complimented my bravery earlier like I suggested you do, so thank you. Those messages kept me going in my moment of despair. Several areas of New Vegas became virtually pitch black. Waiting changed the weather, but it wasn't bright enough. Speeding up time with a console command ran through a couple weather effects, yet the darkness remained. My legs barely remained intact, following a Powder Ganger Squadron assault squadron. I'm at full health, my legs are completely numb, rigged up by sticks and twine. Veronica's behind me operating me like a puppet. Possible flash warning now for about 10 seconds. I played God with the console one more time to quickly check a ton of weathers. All in the dark. Warning over. I'll give old Paul some credit for one thing. He figured out why the sneak meter gone and run away. I called the old boy back home. Novak wasn't safe from the shadow over the Mojave. The lonesome road wasn't safe. My Pip-Boy lights are on. The torches are lit, the fireplace is burning bright, and I can't see the end of my gun in the Great Khan hideout. A cat's eye provided temporary relief. It wore off, and the haze over the Mojave had stretched to every corner of the map. A location not outside in direct sunlight is shrouded in the deepest dark, impenetrable by Vault-Tec technology. Outside doesn't really get any better. Maybe it's bad luck. Maybe it's mods gone wrong. Maybe it's a random coincidence that I happened to get stuck with for this challenge. Something changed mid-game that was out of my hands. Can you beat Fallout New Vegas if every door is randomized? Sure, but I've been told to do a challenge for fun. This is what that looks like. Now let's all agree to never let me do it again. If you enjoyed the video or learned anything, leave a like. Leave a dislike
that
if you
was
didn't
funny.
enjoy the video.
That was funny. Let's see. He did some good Fallout 3 ones too. He's done some good Skyrim ones too. Let's see. Can you beat Fallout 3 with your eyes? I remember this. He did some cool challenges. Like he played like every Wii Sports game on different TVs at the same time with like his feet and his hands and everything. Yo, what's up, Conrad? I am. How you doing? Yeah, this was it. Best of Mitten Squads, can you beat? Oh, I'm gonna miss this guy, man. Fuck. I'm gonna miss this guy.
I got the right score. Golf, I don't remember what I got. Alright, this is easily the best idea for anything I've ever had in my entire life. Wondering what this little doohickey is for too. It's a nunchuck. Because me, in my infinite wisdom, forgot that the boxing game requires a nunchuck. Now, if you're like me, you're probably wondering, how the am I gonna control 5 sports with 2 hands? And I thought about that, and I have a few solutions. First of all, zip ties. I love zip ties. They're so useful in everyday life when you need to, restrain things that are causing a commotion and getting blood all over the place. Then we have Plan B. I just realized I held up those zip ties by my face, but you probably can't see those. Oh man, that's embarrassing on my part. Let's do it again. I'm gonna lose my shit. You can see even multitasking for this is a monumental effort. So I do need to save, alright. 3 is good. 5, get your ass back on it. Plan. If I can call it that. Tennis and baseball and golf to an extent, all they need are motion. So tennis and baseball, them is going on my legs. Trust me, I tested this once. It's gonna work like a charm. Hopefully. I wasn't wearing pants at the time. I have not taken jeans into consideration. There's also the problem that maybe I might accidentally hit a button when I don't want to. That should be alright. Alright, so number 5 is gonna be tennis. Number 3 should then be baseball. You can never have too many zip ties. There are just so many applications. I think boxing is just movement, so the TV on the right, on the bottom right's up. I don't know if that's a power issue or a Wii issue. The possibility of blowing a fuse is something that has weighed heavily on my mind for the last 11 and a half minutes. Also, I should go ahead and point out how much this idea cost me. $1,500. and I'm not lying. I got a good deal on the Wii's. They were only $127 a piece. I needed them quickly, and I got them quickly, so I should test the box real quick. You might consider this unprofessional that I didn't do it first, but I thought taking you along for the adventure with me would make for a better video. If I have to move with this thing, this is gonna be a problem. Also, I'm gonna have to switch up the hands. Obviously, I should be a woman with big eyes. Paulina represent. Guest F. F for female. Leave alone jacket. What's a jacket? I don't have a jacket. Oh, Ryan, you're going down. Also, there's no sound. I can already tell this is gonna hurt when it comes off. It's not tight enough. It might be. And the nunchuck, of course. Pop that in. Take that to my left arm. I'm gonna have to somehow start all these at the same time. Another thing I haven't even thought about or considered is what happens if I fail one. Do I start them all over? That's worth considering right now. I have no idea. Maybe I'll figure it out when I fail, I guess. I don't even expect this to be possible. We'll find out together. This one will make nice and snug. Oh yeah, that's good. This is a good idea. And there we have it. I am ready. Alright, well I have to select. What's number 5? Number 5 is baseball. Number 3 is tennis. This one should be left-handed. Which one is this one? I already forgot. Oh, it's baseball. Lefty. There's no option for legs. What kind of garbage game is this? I'm gonna have to pay attention to all 5 at the same time. Golf was the one that was really hard. Luckily for me, bowling, I bowl on my own time. I bowl down to no man. What's number 2? I should have done that. Not even my arms are in the right order. It's gonna get crazy. Number 2, I keep forgetting that's the one on my arm. Save. Number 3. Number 3. Okay, number 5. Okay. Gosh. I need to be careful with the golf. Well, actually, I have to hold down A before I do it, don't I? Number 3 and 5. A and B at the same time. How am I gonna do that? I got it. Alright. Number 2. Go. Get into the game already. A, I guess. Single game. Alright. No, what have I done? I have to press A on those. Alright. No, wait. 5. Stop. 5, stop, please. Number 3. What have you done? This strap is throwing me off. I'm gonna take a risk. I'm gonna go for it. Throw caution to the wind, as they say. Do I have to press A? I didn't test tennis. Alright. Go with the bowling. Boxing. Go. How do I... Oh, I have to press A. Oh, dude. This is a mistake. That's not... Okay. This is impossible. This is not... Why would I do this to myself? This isn't gonna be possible. Bowling, swing, just... No. This is too much. This is too much to try and do all at once. It can't be done. I'm getting strikes in baseball, I'm getting fastballs, I can't throw anything in tennis. Golf, I can't even swing because I'm not left-handed. Wow. This was... What a cluster this turned out to be. I gotta run. There's no way to know. Nobody's ever attempted this before. I looked it up. It's impossible. I have to serve. Hold A. How do I serve? What do I do? I can just keep throwing rights. Alright, now we're going. Oh, wrong foot. I have to serve again. Serving is gonna be my downfall. I would just keep throwing rights. Maybe I need to move one of them to my right. My left arm, maybe. Bowl? Why am I holding the A button? To bowl? left leg again. Almost got a stroke on that one. Or I don't know tennis terms. Oh no. What I'll consider a victory for me is getting a single run in baseball.
Oh, it's coming loose.
It's coming loose.
Yeah.
Tighten it up. Serve. Come on, bowling, do your thing. Oh, I got it. What with the I can take a beating in boxing. Nice and slow. I might win the This is not going very well at all. I think this is theoretically possible. I'm learning as I'm going through. Serve the tennis. I didn't swing too early, you dumb. What if I jump? Oh. That was expected. Number 2 is just doing its own thing. 3 is just there. Nobody really expects much from that one. I'm swinging, just... I gotta strike what the dude? Alright, I gotta keep my eye on the prize here.
He did so many cool challenges. Let's see. Did we do that one? That's the one we just did, right? I think so. Oh, no, we did. No, we did every door randomized. Let's do randomized to hell. Actually, no, let's see. Can you beat Fallout New Vegas with only a fat man?
When you think Fallout, there are probably a few images that appear in your head. Big Iron, Liberty Prime, all the different ways to torment Mama Murphy, dog meat, the list goes on and on. But you probably think about nuclear war too. So what if you could harness the power of a nuclear war, tone it down by like 99%, and use it as a weapon? Can you beat Fallout New Vegas with only a fat man? After giving myself a callback name to a simpler time, I began making my character. I had some great ideas for what he should look like, but things kinda got out of hand, and somehow I created a 4th generation inbred monstrosity coming from the Paul X Paulina bloodline. As for special points, the Fat Man is an explosives weapon, if you can believe that, which makes the build based around perception. However, something we've never really experienced before in a run is the strength requirement, which greatly complicates things. You can use any weapon regardless of your strength, it's just not going to be a great experience. Strength of 8 to use the Fat Man effectively eats up a good amount of points. I put the rest in intelligence for obvious reasons, and luck, because fat men are not cheap, and neither are the things they fire from themselves. Prior to selecting my skills, I played around with an idea, a first of its kind idea. What if I was Doc Mitchell? I almost sorta look like him, or maybe his brother, who was dropped by our family's least favorite uncle shortly after being born. I sat in his seat to see how it feels to be him. I wanted to know what happens if you never do the interview. I'll tell you now that this went off the rails faster than most things do, except for the Wii Sports video. That was a clusterfuck of an idea that surpassed what even I thought was possible. I eventually sped up the game by 1,000,000%. I can't be bothered to do the math on this, but if my math is correct, something like 3,000 in-game days are passing every hour. Don't think for an instant that it didn't destroy the game. It did, quite badly. Setting the time scale back to 1 broke both my legs on a cosmic scale, which gave me the idea for a jump-only video, but it seems that our universe died in that disaster, and in this new universe, walking simply isn't a thing. Doc Mitchell wasn't going anywhere. I had to quit the game to fix it. Onto the skills after wasting so much time. Skills were barter because my future is going to be frustrating enough as it is. Medicine, to endure the pain of everyday life by numbing my entire body with substances. And explosives, to turn that pain into ways to hurt others. Traits were skilled for the same reason as always, and fast trigger. The Fat Man fires slowly enough as it is. The 20% fire rate bonus is going to vastly outweigh the accuracy penalty. The thing about the Fat Man is that there are only 8 of them you can find in New Vegas, and ammo is even more rare. Oddly enough, despite being harder to find in New Vegas than Fallout 3, they also do significantly less damage. I truly cannot believe it. After all these years, I finally found a flaw in Fallout New Vegas. It probably goes without saying that my first destination was the Strip. Can't attack anything until I get my arms around a Fat Man, and I didn't want to be limited by only having a few nukes. This means I need caps out the ass. With my eyes on the prize, I rebooted the mission and began my journey through Cazador Canyon. It could have gone worse. I managed to lure a baby into a group of Cazadors to see who would win. The baby fought well, taking down 2 babies of the rival species. I tried to trick one of its parents into getting into a rumble with the flying parents, but all I got was a stinger in my ass for trying to cause a commotion on Mulberry Street. It wouldn't be the first time I've done that. My great-grandmother lives on a Mulberry Street, and when I was little, my uncle hit me in the face with a snowball, and I screamed as loudly as I possibly could. Because I was in the area, I discovered Red Rock Canyon to save myself some time down the human experience timeline. As I rounded the northern boundaries of the Strip, I got assaulted by fiends, and I noticed an old and familiar friend. The kind of friend who makes a long post on Facebook about how people need to remember who their real friends are because you two got into an argument about which person came up with the name for your Modern Warfare 2 clan. The game also started getting really stuttery, which was quite annoying. Part of me wants to do a Mitten Prime run similar to the mod interference problem where the game has no textures. If anyone knows how to make that happen, find me on Twitter, if you dare, and let me know. Don't say anything about the wireframe console command. I know all about that. Thanks to the power of exchanging goods and/or services for other goods and/or services, I got myself up to 2,000 caps, entered the Strip, waltzed into Gomorrah like I was a health inspector worried about half the building not existing, got myself some chips, went ahead and exited the game because I don't like recordings to be too long, and my save would not load back into the game. This was probably the biggest save corruption problem I've ever faced in all my decades of doing these challenges. Loading old saves didn't do anything. I could not get into the save anymore. Reactivating NMC's 3-part texture pack didn't fix it, nor did doing the same thing to my other mods. Disabling them altogether and loading the vanilla game was also not my savior. This save, Hey Peter, is forever delegated to the land of forgotten characters. You know the people you only ever see once in your life? That's where they live. Eager to do this idea because it was a Wednesday afternoon, and I wouldn't have another opportunity to do anything until Friday afternoon, I cheated my way back to where I'd gotten in the first save. In retrospect, I think playing with the speed of the universe may have been what caused this. I gave myself some console command powers to quickly retrace my steps back to the Strip. I dropped all the weapons I'd had, tried to match my inventory as quickly and as accurately as possible, discovered the same locations, gave myself exactly 2,000 caps as that's how many I had in the practice round, and soon enough I was on my way to the Strip. But that's when it happened. I got challenged to a street race. For a while there, I wasn't sure if I could pull out a victory, what because of the Cazador stinger, but I channeled my inner turtle by not wearing shoes and won the race. From there, I went back to Gomorrah, where I gambled until I got kicked out. With roughly 11,100 caps to my name, I skedaddled to the gun store to buy me a kid's version of a World War conflict-ending toy. I had a decision to make. Do I buy a Fat Man, or do I buy his cool Aunt Esther, who lets me eat my dinner in the shower? Both the regular and Esther are fat men, and spending more on a weapon would leave me with less ammo, and there's nothing I love more than contradicting myself. I could have scavenged the wasteland and eventually found a few darts, but that would have made it closer to a pacifist run than a weapon-restricted challenge. If I only attack like 8 things in the entire playthrough because ammo is so scarce, it almost ruins the point of the challenge. Needing a higher military budget, I entered the tops, next for more gambling. Completely forgot about finishing a quest by entering this place, dumped the points into both barter and explosives, gambled my way to the greatest day of my life, besides the day in the future when a certain special someone finally dies and I can spit on their grave in front of their grieving family. I had trash can filling ravioli luck inside the White Glove Society, mainly because I made some decisions that some people may consider stupid, like staying on a 5 and a 6. I got kicked out of all 3 casinos once again, but wait, there's more. I also went to the Atomic Wrangler and gambled more. Completely forgot about this place. I haven't been in here since I inquired about what happens if you put Fisto through the Pack-a-Punch machine. The payouts aren't as high and you can't win as much overall, but it's still another option for getting about 5,000 caps if you've got enough luck. Then again, if you've already gotten kicked out of all 3 casinos and still need more caps, odds are you're a high-level character and can sell high-end weapons for easy caps, which would make what I just said irrelevant. I guess this advice is for future me. I cannot wait to see how future me contradicts current me. With the most caps I've ever had in my life without cheating, I obtained the deed to Esther's soul, bought 3 big kid mini nukes, 2 low yield, 1 timed, and 3 conjoined twin post-separation all fired from a cannon toddler mini nukes. I bought all those 10 items and still had 12,000 caps left. I almost immediately regretted my decision to buy the higher end model. I don't need all this Esther. Before continuing on my merry way, I tested each mini nuke, then reloaded a save because these is valuable items, to see how they performed. You might be wondering what wacky shenanigans our old buddy Paul got up to next. I stood in place, motionless, for 4 days. Back to the gunnery mall I went to buy more nukes. But for the moment, I only did this 1 time, not until I drained all my caps like in other videos. I did sorta try though. The pancake troll face under the bridge at 188 Trading Post can sell nukes too, but only if you pass a skill check, which I could not. As a pair of feral puppies feasted on my tuchus, I realized what I had to do, and so to Boulder City I went. Monroe let me in because I promised to help, and I blew up his soldiers. Turns out that the timed mini nuke bounces like a motherfucker. I can't think of any weapon or ammo type that acts like my brother's skull. After that time, I ran a bunch of bungee cords across our open garage door at neck height, and he ran into them and clotheslined himself. Good times. Not as good as the time I threw a baseball bat at his face, or put hot sauce on his toothbrush, or turned on a drill and pressed it into his thigh. Little cried after that last one. God, 7-year-olds are so stupid. The timed nukes can also be used as projectiles and do large amounts of damage to the target while it's still exploding. Don't know exactly how much, but it's enough to kill a weakling by shoving it through their skull via their mouth. I was surprised that even Monroe himself joined in the fun. Equally surprising was how the Great Khans ain't give a shit when I let their birthday party piñatas loose. Veronica immediately fled from me, kinda odd. I give off very friendly vibes to all people. The Paul you see is only a character. I only think and act like a maniac, but I'm not actually one. Then again, I did spend 25 minutes laying in bed on Thanksgiving night trying to think of how I could steal a dozen rolls of toilet paper from my parents' house without them noticing. It didn't work out. I only got one, and it was probably the most obvious one I could have taken. Don't ask what that means. I got Veronica to get me inside the bunker so I could buy more ammo, just to have another option. Remembered that a companion killing rat scorpions vacationing near the bunker would violate one of my non-disclosure agreements, so instead I used the eye candy that is my body to lure all the rat scorpions into an angry mob, blasted them all alongside myself, and left... I don't know what that was. And left one survivor stuck in the ground to tell passersby about what happened on this fateful day. Unfortunately, inside the bunker I could buy nothing. What I could do though was glitch myself inside the armory and steal about 14,000 caps worth of power armor. Even after talking to the elder and agreeing to help, the vendor would still not sell me her rounded goodies with a wide base. Before continuing on with whatever I was going to do, I bought a weapon mod for Esther. It was not meant to be. It was not her size. I didn't return it for store credit, which could be used to buy more food. I kept it near her to taunt her. If you think that's f***ed up, you're right. She is f***ed up. The mod cuts her weight in half. All she'd have to do is cut off both her legs and maybe half an arm. But she just doesn't get it. She can't see the full picture of what we'd be accomplishing if she let me cut her f***ing legs off. The big boy did far more damage inside the tops than I would have thought. From a decent distance, it killed me. I really thought the tiny tots were going to be the star of the show, but the tiny ones do so little damage on their own. However, they are really useful in ensuring you don't miss if you're only going after 1 or 2 innocent civilians who just happen to be in the right place at the right time when you decided to commit war crimes. At level 6, I took the Demolition Expert perk to make explosive weapons do 20% more damage. I met with Yes Man because, come on, this is a Mitten Squad video. I went ahead and bartered with the underground medical woman for healing supplies, bought some ammo, and entered Mr. House's dojo to black out and wake up in his basement with no way out. I noticed something while I was down there. The barrier doesn't go all the way to the ceiling. There's a gap, and I just so happened to have a kind of ammo that would bounce off the ceiling and fall to the ground before exploding, taking with it the Securitrons, performing Mr. House's demonstration. My plan worked to perfection. The game is stuck. With the Securitrons dead, Bobby won't continue to stroke his ego, and the elevator doesn't work. The game is in a soft lock. The second time down there, again, curiosity got the better of me. I spied, with one of my gigantic eyes, a terminal over yonder. I wanted to know what was on it. One console command later, there was nothing there. But it wasn't just a piece of the environment. There was an option in the terminal that does nothing, despite the fact that you can't get over there without cheating. After learning that Mr. House's hyperbolic time chamber was capable of withstanding a nuclear strike, I killed him with the nuke itself, took the Demolition Rank 2 expert perk, and for some reason, collected 100 pounds of pre-war books. If my memory is correct, and it probably isn't, I thought I could collect them all, and then when I couldn't, I tried to collect as many as I could. Then I dropped them on the ground, like the cool kid in the library who causes a ruckus because he isn't very loved by his parents. My next task for myself was the extermination of the Great Khans. This was pretty weird. Things happened here that I can't explain. I laid down a time bomb in their place of worship, maybe shouldn't have said that, and killed all but one person. Their leader is in pieces on his throne. Yet the last man standing didn't care. Thinking I'd just successfully done what past massacres couldn't, I headed north for the airport. After meeting Pearl and hearing that there was a young man with his eyes on a faraway lady, a fun thought entered my mind. The girl he has a crush on. What if I killed her? When he describes her to me, would I have the option to tell him that I blew her up? But I was more sad about the Brahmin who died with her. As it turns out, I don't know. In typical Mitten Squad fashion, I couldn't find him. I did find the hangar filled with beds, didn't even know that place existed, but I could not, for the life of me, find Jack. I even waited in his place of work so I could fill his heart with pain, but the bastard wouldn't dare show his face. Naturally, I considered that an act of war, so I assassinated their leader with a nuclear weapon. It was then I learned that the Great Khans had not yet been dealt with. This was where the weird starts. I killed one guy in front of two others and they got pissed, as expected when you're dealing with crybabies, but nobody else did. The two addicts in the trailer park didn't care, nor did the junkie approaching them. Still not enough, I returned to the sole survivor who had not left his post. I obliterated his post. It was here I began to think that I was a soldier of God, carrying out his will against people who most likely didn't do anything wrong. The big kid proved his worth once more by taking out at least 7 people at once, including myself. But where I really wanted to let this baby loose was at Thanksgiving dinner. I was so excited for it that right after I fired, I slowed down time and activated the free cam to get a close-up look at the carnage. It was good, not really as great as I'd hoped. It only took me 2 more shots to clean up the stragglers and leave one person alive again. Mortimer went to the big slaughterhouse casino in the sky. I tried to get Yes Man to protect me from all harm. A simple door did more to help me than that ass kisser. I had me a big confusion when I couldn't figure out why my objective wasn't updating to the Lucky 38 after telling Yes to meet me there. It was a cavalcade of disasters that I won't bother getting into. Just know that it wasn't something stupid, like me not having the right active quest. I would have liked to take out the big NCR cheese with the fat man, but they aren't fans of mine. At level 12, I took the splash damage perk to increase the area of effect for all explosive weapons by 25%. A powerful perk when combined with Esther, explosives at 100, and demolition expert at rank 3. At some point, I can't remember where, Veronica ditched me. I sent a special treat hurtling towards her kneecap. It killed her before the explosion could. An NCR patrol squad stopped me on my way to the Dorito station. You may not believe me when I say this, but I swear to every non-existent god that I didn't plan on killing them. My finger just slipped. At the station, I learned that the big nukes have a hell of an arc to their shot. I failed 4 times, even once with VATS, to get the bomb to their bodies. The problem was, I lacked the high ground. Upon said high ground, I got an almost perfect mushroom cloud among the very wide shaft erupting from the base of the building. Activated the thing, went to the dam, and the real game began. I'm not sure what you were expecting this to be like, but it wasn't terrible. The Esther is capable of taking out ground centurions with a single blast. Same goes for the pair of NCR heavy troopers whose skin I peeled off and draped over my body. That little trick also helped me avoid conflict with my fellow bandana-wearing comrades. I also stopped for a brief moment because I thought I noticed Hey Peter 2.0 going into a Naruto run as he put away his weapon. It's probably the closest you're gonna get without mods. With the generators destroyed, I returned to the surface, finally became enemies with the Legion, tried to toss a fallen brother over the edge so his metal body could rest in a better, wetter place. The Legate's camp was even easier than what came before it. Single soldiers stood no chance whatsoever. Then there was the Legate himself. The first thing to point out is that in trying to kill him, I killed myself several times before finally sending him to his final rest. The tots came in handy when I wiped out the Legion's favorite cows. And to round out this experience, there's General Oliver. What even needs to be said? It took longer to pull out of Esther than it did to kill the General. I might have accidentally offed myself when trying to kill Yes Man, attempted to end his brothers as well. It didn't go my way, and despite the heavy emotional damage that came from that, I succeeded in beating Fallout New Vegas with only a fat man. If you enjoyed the video or learned anything, leave a like. Leave a dislike if you didn't enjoy the video.
Fallout 3 videos too. Let's see. Can you beat Fallout 3 without talking to anyone?
A fundamental element of an RPG is the ability to talk to an NPC, oftentimes to make decisions that will impact the game world, making it feel like your actions had an effect, when they didn't and nothing you do will ever matter. But what if you wanted to be the quiet kid who sits in the front of the bus asking the teachers about what they think of his nose gold? Can you beat Fallout 3 without talking to anyone? The simple answer is no, obviously you can't, but there are steps you can take to limit the number of people you have to interact with. As for what counts as talking to anyone, anything that involves the dialogue menu. If you see the option to tell them goodbye, you've already failed. Naturally, that comes with its own set of challenges. The beginning of the game is dead simple. I've done this multiple times by now. It's just that this time I'm abandoning my father instead of him abandoning me. Now I could have, within the limitations of this challenge, assigned my special points before I began my grand escape. You don't speak to your father during this part of the game. You can make baby noises at him, but you don't have to. You can walk up to him, say nothing, he'll leave you alone with an assortment of different choking hazards, and you can assign your special points, but it's unnecessary. To begin escaping the vault as a baby, you abuse the game's instantaneous quick save quick load mechanic to glitch yourself through a wall, at which point you'll fall through the eternity of gray nothing and be placed at a part of the vault you can only be in if your current objective is to escape the vault. It was harder than usual to transcend reality and make the wall my I couldn't tell you why. Going back to special stats for a moment, I didn't bother assigning them, because the only enemies you'll find in the vault at this point, because things are a little weird, is a handful of rad roaches. As usual,
this one's probably better.
Unlike many RPGs, where the hero lives in the world for years before discovering their true calling, Fallout 3 starts off with your character being born. But what if the lone wanderer's mother didn't die from childbirth, but as a result of a spell cast on a special clock? Can you beat Fallout 3 as Benjamin Button? You're probably wondering what the hell kind of idea this is for a challenge. Let me tell you, it might not be a good idea, but it's definitely an idea. The premise of the curious case of Benjamin Button is that a baby is born as an old man, but still the size of a baby, and he ages in reverse. By the time he's in his late 60s, instead of being a wrinkled strip of leather, he's a child. Age is not something we have direct control over in Fallout 3. Even when you're a baby, you're not really a baby, you're just a scaled down person. Believe it or not, this actually works to our advantage. As soon as I leave Vault 101, the clock starts ticking. Every 15 minutes, I use the player.setScale command to decrease my size by 5%. This gives me 5 hours to complete Fallout 3. I either beat the game, or I keep shrinking until I eventually blink out of existence. Because there are no special restrictions on weapons I can use, I drain the points from Perception and put 3 points each into Charisma, Intelligence, and Luck, to level up quicker and to have a higher speech skill. I try to climb up on top of a table like my dog used to do, but a table's natural defense is an invisible wall to keep people off of it, and that's science. As the Overseer was talking about my Pip-Boy, I got distracted by the balloons. I threw shit all over the place, got beat up by Butch, gave old lady Palmer the experience of a lifetime, went down to the basement for some private time with Jonas, got my picture taken, and went to take the GOAT exam. I chose medicine, small guns, and speech as my tag skills. Amata then woke me up and explained the situation. She gave me a handgun, which I used to put a few bullets in her skull, and I was off to kill as many people as I could before I left. Officer Kendall was first, then Butch. The Radroaches got his mother before I could. The Holdens were next, and I found myself in the Overseer's office. He and his guards died. I tried to kill Amata again, opened the vault door, killed 2 more guards, and escaped. The countdown to my extinction begins now. About halfway to Megaton, I checked to make sure the console command would actually work, just to be safe. Those of you who've seen my Fallout 3 as a baby or New Vegas as a giant videos know that there are 2 big hurdles to overcome here. The first is obvious. The smaller you get, the slower you move. The second hurdle is that, for whatever reason, your damage output is directly related to your size. The smaller you are, the less damage you do to enemies. I made my way to Megaton because I wanted to follow the main story as closely as I could. I didn't want to go straight to Vault 112 to save Dad. There needs to be some tension. My first stop in Megaton was Craterside Supply to pick up a radiation suit, stim packs, and ammo. I broke into Moriarty's saloon, stole his terminal password, and found out that Dad had went to Galaxy News Radio. I killed Gob before I left the saloon, killed Calamity Jane and a few of the Megaton citizens on my way out of the city, and I was off to Galaxy News Radio. A few mole rats committed suicide by me. I ended a few raiders in front of the super duper ultra mega mart, nearly blinded myself by blowing up an iBot right in front of my face, swam through a river, and went down into Farragut West Station. And wouldn't you know it, the game crashed. With that crash, it's a good time to bring up, well, time. My initial idea for this challenge was to create a script that would check the in-game time and automatically decrease my size every 15 minutes. That ended up not working the way I wanted it to, because it didn't really work at all. Maybe the proper way to do this would be to pause the timer in dialogue or when saving, but that would have ended up being a giant pain in the ass. So the timer is constantly running. I can reload an old save if I get into a sticky situation, but all that will do is eat away at my time. The only reason the clock stops is if the game crashes. I eventually made it out of the tunnels and arrived on the scene to help the Brotherhood fight against the super mutants attacking Galaxy News Radio. After looting their corpses, repairing a few items, and picking up a fat man, the first 15 minutes outside of Vault 101 had passed. Time to shrink down to 95%. Not a minute later, the super mutant behemoth showed up and died. I then went inside Galaxy News Radio to speak to 3 Dog, passed a speech check to avoid fixing his radio station, left the building, and for reasons medical science still can't explain, I got attacked by Sarah Lyons and her gang of losers. I legitimately have no idea why that happened. I was concerned that it would mess up the ending of the game, that maybe I wouldn't be able to enter the Citadel without being attacked or something. But fuck it, that's a problem for a few hours from now. I fast traveled back to the Super Duper Mart, leveled up again, raised my speech skill up to 75, and began heading southeast towards Rivet City. I passed by Wilhelm's Wharf and ignored the old woman living there. The curse of Grandma Sparkle is very real, and I don't have time to deal with that. I blew the head off a scavenger and committed the mortal sin of not even giving the bucket a passing greeting. Under a highway, I quickly dispatched of 4 raiders holding out there, slept to heal myself and save stim packs, and continued my journey. I discovered the Citadel, thankfully nobody there was hostile towards me, got wet, crossed a bridge that will play a role in the future, and discovered the Jefferson Memorial. I know that I said I was going to follow the story closely, but I decided to clear out the memorial now instead of waiting. The longer I put it off, the harder it'll be because I'll do less damage. The limited supply of assault rifle ammo ensured that at least the first few super mutants wouldn't be difficult to kill. Down in the basement, 4 super mutants were clumped together. A smart man would have pulled out a grenade and disposed of them quickly. With them dead from bullets, I cleared out the remaining mutants, used a bed to make sure that the area was clear, and exited the building out into complete darkness. As I felt the loving touch of the eternal void wrapping its arms around my soul, the game crashed. I'd lost maybe 15 seconds by restarting the game and loading into my most recent save. But that's almost 0.1% of my total time, so it really is practically meaningless. I continued running through complete darkness, hit the second 15-minute period, shrunk down to 90%, wasted even more time by waiting for daylight on a rock, and going the wrong way towards Rivet City. Waiting for the bridge to extend was as boring as it was aggravating. I made my way through the dump tub, spoke to Madison Lee, and realized that I fucked up. I could have saved myself a trip if I'd snagged the holotapes in Project Purity. How unfortunate. After getting lost in Rivet City, I went back to the Jefferson Memorial, listened to holotape number 10, and knew where I was going next. I fast traveled back to Vault 101, hopped over a few rocks, and began the march towards Smith Casey's garage. Time is of the essence. Every enemy encounter wastes time. The game crashed again after I ran past a Mr. Gutsy. I killed 2 mole rats, then a third one, and a rad scorpion. You know how I literally just said time is of the essence? Well, some opportunities are too good to pass up. There were 4 innocent people hanging out under a rock, just asking to be killed. I happily obliged, looted their bodies, shot at a bug, got into a bit of a scuffle with the raiders at Evergreen Mills, left after killing a few of them, and with Smith Casey's garage in sight, the time had come to set my scale to 85%. The mole rats tried to distract me from my mission. I waited for what felt like an eternity for the vault door to open, put on the jumpsuit, and hopped inside the Tranquility Lounger. You already know what I did in Tranquility Lane. With time being the valuable resource it is, the only option was to call upon the Chinese to save Dr. Braun from himself. Doc got in my way. I exited the simulation, checked to make sure that my size was still at 85%, and agreed to meet Dad back at Rivet City. Me running behind my daddy really shows how big of a hit I've taken to my movement speed. I fast traveled back to Rivet City, found myself neck deep in complete darkness for the second time, navigated my way into the ship, opened the door to the science lab, and the game crashed. Again. Dr. Lee and Dad spoke for a bit. I saw how small I'd become, went back to the Jefferson Memorial, only to find that by the time I got there, the science nerds had already entered the building. I was tasked with going down into the already cleared out basement to press buttons and shit. I wasted time by going in a circle, flipped the switch in the basement, went back upstairs for the fuses. Dad called me a cloud. I installed the fuses, turned on the computer, and the time had come to go down to 80%. I was now the perfect size to play in the sewer. Then the Enclave ruined my party by arriving at the Jefferson Memorial. And hey, the game crashed again. I tried to jump my way over to the small space outside the fence, but it didn't work. An Enclave soldier greeted me at the stairs and was promptly dispatched. I watched as people a full head and shoulders taller than me discussed various things that ended with my father not even having the guts to look me in the eye as he died. Pussy. I guided Madison Lee and the other worthless NPCs down into the tunnels, got the rare opportunity to fire a fat man not only indoors, but underground as well. Of course, it's difficult to get the fat man out of your ass when soldiers are constantly shooting at you. As we approached the safe zone, Madison informed me of Garza's heart condition, and I informed her that Garza is a pussy and deserves to die. We finally arrived at the Citadel, and the waiting game began. That whole not stopping the clock unless the game crashes thing bit me in the ass here. Every now and again, Madison will just not enter the Citadel, but you'll have already gotten stuck in place for the upcoming dialogue. I wasted nearly 2 minutes waiting for her to show up. Then I had to actually sit through her conversation with Elder Lyons, which wasted more time. All that waiting drained the clock, and I'm now at 75%. My movement speed is now noticeably slower. I spoke to Rothschild, took the shortcut to the A-Ring, quickly got information about Vault 87 from a terminal, got the location from Rothschild, and was off to Little Lamplight. I'm 25% slower than I was at the beginning of the game. That might not seem like much, but think about it this way. If it takes me 2.5 minutes to walk from Smith Casey's garage to Little Lamplight at the normal speed, it takes 3 minutes 7 seconds when scaled down to 75%. Now remember that time increase applies to all distances in the game. I'd been putting a fair amount of points into small guns in an attempt to offset the penalties from shrinking, which made taking on a few super mutants on the way to Lamplight not terribly difficult. I scummed my way through Little Shit's dialogue and got myself into Little Lamplight. Fun fact, I'm now smaller than the children. How wonderful. I passed through the gate, opened the door to Murder Pass, killed a few super mutants, and it was already time to shrink again. This time, down to 70%. On the plus side, getting into Vault 87 leveled me up enough to get my small gun skill up to 74. Super mutants are now quite large and a bit troublesome to kill. Nevertheless, I kept pushing through the vault, taking the super punishment as necessary. It's not all bad though. I had a stealth boy, which allowed me to sneak past most of the super mutants on the way to the test labs. I got spotted by a centaur, which alerted an unwelcome guest. That small inconvenience caused my stealth boy to not last to the point that I'd hoped it would, which was setting off the fire alarm to release Fox. I decided to have Fox retrieve the Gek because, even with the radiation suit, I wasn't sure if my movement speed would be slow enough to make it impossible to get the Gek. The problem is that Fox is slow. Waiting for him to dramatically walk to the reactor chamber eats up a lot of time. At least it allows me to conserve ammo. Once again though, despite me just saying how important time is, I wasted more of it by telling Fox to get the Gek, then beating him inside and grabbing it myself to see if he had any unique dialogue. He did, and it also proved my point from earlier about the radiation. Even with the radiation suit, I succumbed to radiation poisoning. With the Gek in hand, I took my leave, got ambushed by the Enclave, and woke up in Raven Rock. Before I had the chance to break free of my shackles and take to the sky, the time had come to shrinky-dink my way down to 65%. After getting my shit back, I passed the skill check, then killed the Enclave officer and began searching for the president. Autumn committed treason by directly opposing the president's last order and instructing all Enclave personnel to attack me on sight. Critical shots and a maxed out small gun skill came in handy when dealing with Autumn's goons. For reasons even I don't understand, before speaking to the president, I laid down half a dozen mines and set them off with a grenade to see if it was possible to kill the president. When that predictably failed, I tried a few Fat Man shots before getting got by myself. I convinced the president to blow up Raven Rock, took the FEV vial, pushed through the base towards the exit, and was finally free. I had the situation completely under control, but Fox doubted me. He followed the vertibird to Raven Rock to free me. I don't like it when people doubt me. The only person allowed to doubt me is me. That meant Fox had to die. He had completed his role as my item retrieving mule. He's at peace in hell now. And wouldn't you know it, it's already time to go down to 60%. At this point, the run was looking like it'd be disappointingly easy, which is not what I wanted. So I made a very, very bad decision. Why fast travel when you can run across the entire map at 60% speed? I can't possibly understate what a monumental mistake this was. How about I start with a simple number? It took me 40 fucking minutes to get from Raven Rock to the Citadel. The first problem was the raiders encamped near a pond just outside of Raven Rock. They ate up a lot of my ammo and stim packs. Then I made the fun discovery that I could no longer outrun radroaches, and because of the damage reduction courtesy of my puny stature, they chew through ammo like my uncle chewed through my asshole on Thanksgiving. After about 10 minutes, I got into a hell of a fight with rad scorpions, more rats, a wanderer, and dogs. Then my game crashed again, because of course it did, meaning that I had to do that fight over again. The second time around, I killed the rad scorpion, then the dogs, and ended with the wanderer. As I got closer to the Citadel, a Yaguai saw me as a tasty treat, just like my uncle. I tried to kill a few more rats with a mine, and accidentally crippled myself. I'm not going to waste your time any more than I need or want to. Just know that by the time I got to the Citadel, I was laughably low on supplies, and my scale was down to 50%. I was about to enter the Citadel and march towards the end of the line, but there was this nagging feeling in the back of my head, so I went back to where it all began, Vault 101. I listened to the emergency broadcast to get the password, opened the vault door, and agreed to end Vault 101's troubles. Then I killed Officer Armstrong. The last few days or weeks of trouble in Vault 101 would seem like a happy memory to everyone who's left after I'm done with them. I pulled out my .44 Magnum, channeled my inner robots, and let my slaughter begin. I only had a few rounds, so I had to choose my victims carefully. Amada was one of my primary targets. The way she exploded after being shot surprised even me. What surprised me even more was the fact that of all the people I attacked, Old Lady Palmer, the same woman who got a face full of a little boy's crotch, was the one person who managed to escape my wrath. Officer Wilkins was not so lucky. Mac, the same pussy who was hiding behind the glass all those minutes ago, is now the overseer. He, much like Amada, also exploded when he died. Before I could leave the vault for good, it was time to shrink down to 45%. I saved a bucket from falling to its doom, carried it with me as far as I could, lost it to the void as I opened the door to the Vault 101 entrance, and fast traveled to the Citadel to end it all. After a quick comparison shot, I entered the Citadel courtyard and spent 35 seconds running towards the laboratory. Then came round 2 of the waiting game, as Sarah Lyons and her deadbeat father debated about how to handle the Enclave situation. So many minutes wasted. On the plus side, I could now buy ammo from Captain Durga, who I didn't murder this time around. Outside, the Brotherhood soldiers blew past me with lightning speed. I slowly, oh so slowly, trailed behind Liberty Prime, and it was already time to drop down to 40%. By this point, it was becoming painstakingly clear that I may have fucked up. Benjamin Button's life wasn't easy, mine shouldn't be either. Before going any further, I want to point out something that I've noticed about a few of these challenges. The ones that should be relatively straightforward, like this one, the Skyrim Fork Challenge, or the New Vegas Companion Only Challenge, usually end up being a clusterfuck. In this case, Liberty Prime sided with communism because he took his ball and went home, walking the wrong way. It seemed like a strange thing for him to do, so I pressed onward and found the culprit. Part of the bridge didn't load. It makes sense actually. Liberty Prime can't walk on a path that isn't there. I then did what any rational person would do. Who needs Liberty Prime anyway? It's not that difficult to glitch your way through the electric fence. I jumped off the bridge, swam through the water while spamming jump because at this scale, the natural swimming position is about a foot below the water surface, and eventually made my way to solid ground. I encountered more glitched ground, but I made it past the errors, and the bridge to the Jefferson Memorial was in sight. There was one last hurdle, about 5 Enclave soldiers to face. Remember that Fat Man equipping issue I mentioned in Taft Tunnels? That reared its ugly head again here. It didn't help that the soldiers were all stupid accurate, did a lot of damage, I did very little, and they were more interested in turning me into a cripple than they were killing me quickly. I spent about 8 minutes dealing with these godless heathens. I probably should have stocked up on stim packs before coming this far, but I didn't. There were 2 more soldiers on the bridge that were also troublesome to deal with, but before I could confront them, I went down to 35% size. In time, they understood what it was like to lose. I said it was easy to glitch through the energy wall. It is, if you can jump over the railing to get into position, and if you're actually bigger than a slice of cheese. I hopped on a tire, fell into the river, swam to shore, spent about 4 minutes running to the other side of the memorial, where I could reach one of the corners of the barrier. I tried glitching my way through the barrier in an assortment of locations. In an unfortunate, but not exactly unexpected turn of events, none of them worked. I was back where I started, and now I was down to 25% size. I only had one option left, go back to the Citadel and hope that Liberty Prime had gotten his act together. By this point, the game had crashed, forcing me to reload the game. I took off my armor to maximize my speed. About halfway across the bridge, I was down to 20%. It still took 6 minutes to go from the Citadel to the end of the bridge, where the gap had been earlier. Liberty Prime was doing his job, thankfully. The group of Enclave soldiers that had given me trouble were now cleared out by the Brotherhood. Just before I stepped onto the bridge to the Jefferson Memorial, I encountered a problem I hadn't even considered. At this size, the Pip-Boy stops working. I don't know why. I don't care why, because it doesn't matter. All I care about is the fact that I'm slower than a crippled slug, and I can't even equip any armor to protect myself. As Liberty Prime cleared out the remaining forces outside the memorial, I entered the memorial proper, and I shrunk yet again, this time down to 15%. At this size, the game itself starts to fall apart. You're partially glitched through the floor. You can't hold weapons properly, and they're only about halfway visible. And because of the now 85% reduction in weapon damage, I might as well be tickling the Enclave soldiers instead of shooting at them with bullets. It took almost 90 rounds from a Chinese assault rifle to take down an already damaged Enclave soldier. The small upside is that because I'm beginning to glitch out of reality itself, the Enclave soldiers can't actually damage me with their laser rifles. The third-person view is also starting to fall apart. I opened the door to the rotunda, was now actually below the floor, eventually passed the skill check to avoid fighting Autumn, and the game crashed. I reloaded the game, talked to Sentinel Alliance, and it crashed again. I was worried that I'd broken the game. Luckily, by using the tried and true tactic of walking backwards, I was able to ascend the thousands of steps up to Project Purity. There was no way in hell I could ever reach any of the buttons inside to activate Project Purity, so I volunteered Sarah Lines to take one for the team. She died a slow death, I could hardly even see myself, and I beat Fallout 3 as Benjamin Button.
That's so cool.
I could talk about how this run wasn't difficult until I started making bad decisions. I could talk about how the challenge itself was weird to begin with. But if you've made it this far, you're probably wondering what happens when you set your scale down to 0%. Unfortunately, nothing. The smallest you can get is about 1%. Entering player.setscale0 does nothing either. I think it's a failsafe to keep the universe from collapsing on itself. And that's going to do it for this video about whether or not...
I'm going to miss this guy so much, man. I remember when I first started seeing these videos, I fucking binged all of them. They were so good. Let's see. Can you beat Fallout New Vegas by only moving backwards? Oh, these are like the early days of his channel, 7 years ago. Excuse me. Yeah, it's when he started getting into the challenges where his channel really took off.
Something I've wanted to do for a long time was play through a Fallout game as a super mutant. That ungodly strength and hatred towards humanity could offer so many new ways to complete quests and to make decisions. Unfortunately, my dreams are still just dreams. However, through the use of console commands, we can almost get there. The question is, can you beat Fallout New Vegas as a giant? Get out of bed, set .player scale 2, and we're off to the races. And then... what? Children cannot use that. Does this look like a child to you? I scaled myself back down, set my special stats to something that seemed appropriate for a 10-foot tall man, and took a seat on Doc Mitchell's couch. Well, I tried to. I couldn't actually reach the damn thing. Scaled down just a bit, answered some questions, and introduced the Mojave Wasteland to its new hero. Sunny Smiles left some bottles on the fence, so I knocked them down for her. Then we went to kill some geckos. Turns out that increasing your size also makes you move pretty damn fast. Heading towards the strip, I damn near took the heads off some powder gangers with my fists. I also punched a puppy to death. Feeling rather tough, I thought my mountain of a man could take on a Deathclaw. He could not. Also, as luck would have it, I'm fairly susceptible to bullet damage. This is where I realized the first big issue with my size. After I ran inside a house, some powder gangers followed me inside. I was crouched to not put my head and chest through the ceiling. Despite that, my bullets were ineffective against them. Most likely some sort of clipping issue. Thanks to Project Nevada, I was able to open the door and sprint off into the darkness, with a wee bit of health left. Then I found myself in the midst of a firefight between NCR and fiends, in complete darkness. Another fun problem is that to loot a corpse, you have to crouch. And let me tell you, that got real old real fast. I waited till morning, blew the head off an NCR soldier, and took his clothes. A lot of this run was relatively normal, so I won't waste your time by going over every little detail. I fought more fiends, stopped for a photo op with an NCR soldier, got inside the strip, stopped for a photo with Victor, looked down on Benny, literally, as he tried to weasel his way out of me ripping his spine out through his mouth, punched some gangsters in the head, took a photo with their bodies, met Yes Man, bought a neat new gun, found a lucky 38 key card because me no good at computer. Got into a lengthy firefight with the Securitrons protecting Mr. House, in which I slowed down time, blasted them with a grenade launcher, a lot, and dropped some grenades at Victor's feet, or wheel. I also got this fucking cool slow-mo shot of me murdering Mr. House. Next, I introduced myself to the various factions as required by Yes Man. I met the White Glove Society, the Omertas at Gamora, got another sweet action shot after I sliced up some fiends, used a golf club to violently boop the snoot of some nearby dogs, then blew up their friends. I tried to exterminate the cons, only to rediscover that fun little issue where my gigantic frame prevents me from hurting anyone inside certain buildings. It was at that point I decided that I wasn't leaving until somebody died, even if it was me. Again, I learned me a good lesson about how mean Deathclaws are. I had a hell of a time trying to talk to Elder McNamara, short little bastard. I found myself a cool new hat that this dead guy wasn't using anymore, and took a postcard-worthy picture. Not long after donning my new hat, I discovered another annoying flaw with being giant. The bigger you are, the faster you move, but fall damage remains the same. You can run off a cliff so fast that you go far enough that you'll die from the fall. Because I did. A reloaded save and another photo op later, I'm off to the fort. First, I played around with the idea of being Jesus, then the fort. Now is a good time to explain why I went with the size I did. Aside from that pesky indoor gunfire problem, there's also the problem of being so big that the height you fall from after jumping damages you. As seen in this rare archival footage, I'm as big as the game will allow me to be. So big, in fact, that the act of jumping in place is slowly pushing me towards death. Anyway, I met Caesar, installed the upgrade for Yes Man, met the boomers, killed a few of them, made a dog's dinner out of the NCR at the El Dorado gas station, and finally the second battle of Hoover Dam is upon us. With my melee weapon skill almost maxed out, strength at 10, and a super sledge, everyone in my path was promptly massacred. Even the NCR power armor troops were a joke. As for the legate, well, let's just say my first attempt didn't exactly go as planned. The second time around, I pumped myself full of drugs and ended things rather quickly before they got out of hand. A perk I took allowed me to revive a fallen foe as a friend at the cost of a super stim pack. I revived the legate, and once again, things didn't go as planned. I killed him again. I also ate him. General Lee Oliver arrived, and I couldn't have possibly gotten a better shot of it. The Securitrons killed him, I knocked out the narrator, and at last, the run is over. To answer the titular question, yes, you can beat Fallout New Vegas as a giant. Aside from a few bugs related to the increased size of the player character, it's really not all that different from a normal playthrough of New Vegas. The higher vantage point and everything that comes with that are interesting, but the novelty wears off eventually. If you're looking for a fun new way to do a relatively quick playthrough of New Vegas, I would recommend trying a giant playthrough. But if you want to take your time with the game, you're better off sticking to normal size. Now, I guess, the only remaining question is, can you beat Fallout New Vegas as an ant? Fallout New Vegas is an amazing game. Not only can you move forward and side to side, but you can also move backwards. The movement possibilities are endless. Let's say you only want to move a certain way though. Could you beat Fallout New Vegas by only moving backwards? I'll make this quick. Yes, obviously you can beat Fallout New Vegas by only moving backwards. Only moving one way isn't going to break the game or make weird things happen like changing your size would. The real question is, how hard is it? Just for the sake of changing things up, I decided to play as a woman this time around, but as usual, I drained my charisma stat and dumped those points into intelligence. I also prioritized speech, just to make a few situations easier. After that, it was time to pay a visit to my favorite giant poisonous tarantula hawks. It was around this time the run started becoming really annoying. You realize how important that forward movement is when you're in combat. Sure, you can strafe right and left, and of course move backwards. But if you want to get closer to an enemy, you have to turn around and leave yourself wide open to attacks. And when you're taking on multiple cazadors, that isn't good. My strategy was to plant my feet and not move. If they got too close, I'd pull out my grenade launcher, blow us both up, and hope that I lived. It worked out okay in the end. Next, because I was in the neighborhood, I stopped by Red Rock Canyon, so I wouldn't have to trudge back out there later. From there, I made my way to a fiend camp, killed Violetta and her dogs, ransacked her trailer park, killed even more fiends using my patented blow us both to hell method. Then I killed 2 NCR soldiers, took their clothes, and began the long, so incredibly long, backwards walk towards Camp McCarran. Did I mention how long it took? It took a long time. The upside was that the monorail put me within striking distance of Benny. I didn't feel like doing the usual song and dance inside the Tops Casino. This time, I just massacred everyone inside the casino. My decent armor, hunting rifle, and assortment of chems made it easier than it would have been without them. Still though, it was a bit of a challenge. Primarily because I used all of my grenades and mostly just stood there in one spot while they all attacked me. Nevertheless, I won the day, looted their corpses, got the platinum chip, started Yes Man's questline, killed the remaining gamblers on my way out, spoke to Mr. House, watched his stupid demonstration for the upteenth time, then ignored the Securitrons who were so rudely shooting at me while I entered Mr. House's private chambers. Then he died. Gamora and the White Glove Society were the next casinos to feel my wrath. Oh, and feel it they did. The White Mittens got the worst of it. I killed a lot of people. Then I returned to the Great Khan's hideout and wiped out their leaders. The Brotherhood of Steel tried to be my friends, but I got a little carried away and murdered the welcome wagon. The good news is that a Gauss rifle was now in my possession. I paid a visit to my old buddy Doc Mitchell and bought all the stim packs he had that I could afford, because before I killed Papa Khan, I moseyed my way up to the boomers. They blasted the shit out of me. Everyone knows that you don't shoot rockets at a girl in her underwear that's limping backwards towards your base. That's just wrong. I made them pay for their misdeeds by killing their leaders too. Afterwards, I returned to the Great Khans because apparently I had still not made contact with them. None of them survived this time. This time around, I completely avoided the Legion until the end of the game. I didn't bother going to the fort to install any upgrades. I did have a lot of fun murdering the NCR soldiers stationed at the El Dorado gas station. They died real good. Once again, the final battle has arrived. A riot shotgun I picked up off some dead guy really came in handy. But let me tell you, making your way through Hoover Dam offices while going backwards is a real pain in the ass. I took that pain in stride and destroyed the dam's generators. All that was left was to wipe out the Legion, which was tougher than I thought for some reason. The road to the Legate's camp was fine, so were the first few stragglers inside the camp itself. The Legate was a challenge, even with a Gauss rifle and a riot shotgun and pumping myself full of Psycho, Med-X, and an assortment of other chems, it wasn't an easy fight. When the screaming stopped and the bodies lay motionless, I had less than 5% of my health left, and no healing items. I looted a few of the corpses and prepared for the showdown with Lee Oliver. Because I was doing things differently this time, I decided to have him thrown off Hoover Dam. His screams were so delightful. Here we are, yet again. Another pointless Fallout playthrough has been completed. All things being equal, playing New Vegas while only moving backwards wasn't all that bad. I imposed a rule that if I accidentally moved forward at all, I reloaded my most recent save file. That annoyed me a few times. The Tribal Pack DLC weapons and armor helped me out quite a bit in the early game, especially with the Cazadors. Overall, I'd put this below the giant playthrough of New Vegas, but above the no attacking anything run. Fallout 3's baby playthrough is at the bottom just because of how slow it was.
Oh, man,
there are a number of ways to play through Fallout 3. You can use big guns like the minigun or flamer. You can stick to handguns. You can keep things up close and personal by using melee weapons. But what if you didn't want to use any weapons? Can you beat Fallout 3 without attacking anything? Because we aren't attacking anything, strength, perception, and charisma are all worthless here. High endurance gives us more hit points, high intelligence gives us more skill points when we level up, luck at 10 provides a +5 to all skills, and agility increases our sneak skill, which can be useful later on. After assigning special points, it was time for a completely normal birthday party. There was absolutely nothing strange about it at all. Then it's down to the reactor level, where we're given a BB gun and we have to kill a rad roach. Well, that's a shame. My first thought was that maybe there's a dialogue option to skip the rad roach. Maybe you can tell Dad that you don't want to kill anything. No, that's not an option. Alright, well, maybe if you wait long enough, he'll take the BB gun and will kill the rad roach himself. So I started manipulating time. At one point, over 100 in-game hours were passing every second. Unfortunately, God doesn't like it when you play with time, and the game crashed. There's only one option that will work, and it's something I'm not particularly fond of doing, but it's nerf or nothing, so here we go. What we have to do is use an exploit to clip through the wall. What you do is get yourself in a corner, or up against any wall really, then rapidly quick save and quick load until you clip through the wall. I tried several different places, but the one that worked for me was the space between the stairs and the reactor room. Once you clip through the wall, the game places you in the lower level of Vault 101, and because you can only be there if your objective is to escape the vault, you've now skipped the rad roach and can proceed as usual, just as a 10-year-old instead of a 19-year-old. For some reason, doing this skip means that the Vault 101 guards don't spawn, so escaping the vault isn't too difficult. Just open the Overseer's tunnel and... What? Children cannot use that. Alright, well, all hope isn't gone yet. We just have to do the wall glitch again. In doing that took me about 15 minutes. 15 agonizing minutes. I found that the door to the Vault 101 atrium works the best. As soon as you enter that space, back up into the door and let the spam fest begin. When you clip through the wall, you'll be placed at the door to the Capital Wasteland, where we can finally choose our tag skills. These were probably pretty obvious: medicine, speech, and sneak. Out into the wasteland, I leveled up, dumped more points into tag skills, and picked pacifist as my first perk, because combat skills like melee weapons and big guns are worthless. After arriving in Megaton, I spoke to Colin Moriarty about my father, bought some stim packs from Gob, received an interesting offer from Mr. Burke, then immediately ratted him out to Lucas Sims. Mayor Sims ran off and confronted Mr. Burke, and Burke killed him. I looted the corpse and made a horrifying discovery. It seems as though Burke is less than thrilled about me being a snitch, because he's coming after me. I hoped, that leaving Megaton would stop him, but it did not. With Burke hot on my trail, I had no time to waste. I made a beeline straight for Smith Casey's garage to rescue Dad. But, guess what? In order to get into Vault 112, you have to press a switch, and children cannot use that. Fuck, again. I had to go back to our old friend, the wall glitch.
Oh, man.
Oh, you're probably wondering what happened to the mole rats inside. Turns out that they can kill themselves by running into trash cans. Who knew? I was inside Smith Casey's garage for another solid 15 minutes, trying to clip through the wall in a variety of places. It didn't work once. But that's okay, we can just go straight to Little Lamplight and retrieve the Gek. Not a big deal. Nothing interesting happened on the way to Little Lamplight. As you probably could have guessed, I avoided all enemies I found by sneaking past them or running in the opposite direction. The wall glitch in Little Lamplight is much easier than the others, and within a minute or two, I was swimming through the nothing on my way to Murder Pass. The shitty part about Murder Pass, and the entire Little Lamplight area as a whole, is that I can't use my Pip-Boy down there. Luckily, I had hotkeyed some stim packs, so I could use them without my Pip-Boy. The run through Vault 87 was about what I expected. Run past the super mutants, close the doors behind me to slow them down, all relatively normal compared to what's happened so far. Fox wasn't interested in chatting, but that's okay. He'll help you get the Gek if you set him free, regardless of whether he asks for your help or not. You just have to go down the hallway and, you know, this children cannot use that thing is really starting to get old. Alright, fine, I'll get the fucking Gek myself. I don't have a radiation suit, I don't have any Rad-X or Radaway either, but I couldn't use them even if I did. I cannot possibly understate what a gigantic pain in my ass this was. Dealing with the radiation is bad enough. But to make matters worse, there were super mutants shooting at me the entire time because I couldn't kill them, so they just followed me in there. I figured a few things out after a couple dozen attempts. The first thing is that when you go to grab the Gek, move to the right a little bit and you'll get slightly less radiation. The second thing is that you shouldn't wear armor. It'll just slow you down. You can also stand in the doorway and you won't get any radiation. I did, after a lot of trial and error, manage to get the Gek and not die from radiation poisoning. As I made my way out, I wasn't captured by the Enclave, and I wasn't sure why. In retrospect, that should have been my first clue that things were about to go horribly wrong. Nevertheless, I pushed onward until I was out of Murder Pass. And then this happened.
You've made a grievous error in judgment. Watch your back.
I have no idea how the fuck Burke got in there because the gate to Murder Pass was still closed. After the super mutants who had been following me killed Burke, I had another problem to deal with, getting past the closed gate. You know what's coming. More wall glitching. This time it was made even harder by the super mutants attacking me. Because of course it had to be harder. After several millennia of spamming quick save and quick load, I clipped through the wall and made my escape. At this point, I wasn't too sure what to do next. The Enclave didn't capture me, so I couldn't escape their base. I figured I might as well just throw shit at the wall and hope something sticks. The first thing I did was see a doctor in Megaton to heal my radiation. Then I made my way to the Citadel. The guards wouldn't open the gate for me, sons of bitches. You know what? That's fine. I'll just make them let me in. I went back to Vault 87, ran past all the super mutants, went back to where I retrieved the Gek, then began my escape again. And finally, something worked out in my favor. The Enclave captured me. Good, I can actually beat the game now. All I have to do now is ignore the Enclave soldiers that are shooting at me, talk to the president, grab the virus, and I'm home free. Yeah, no. Guess who's back? Our old buddy. Children cannot use that. I want to make it known that I stopped having fun a long time ago. I tried to glitch myself through the door. I wasn't sure what it would accomplish, but I tried it anyway. It didn't work, obviously. Why would it? So, it was time for Plan X. I'll just go to Project Purity and activate the bitch myself. Again, no. What are you, an idiot? Everyone knows children cannot use buttons. Okay, fine. I didn't want to do this, but I was left no choice. I'll just brute force my way into the Citadel. There's a path through some rocks and rubble that you can glitch through to get below the Citadel. Then you just enter the Citadel from within the Citadel. Easy peasy. It only took me 20 minutes, and I only thought about killing myself a few times. Inside, I thought I could talk to Elder Lions, or anyone really, to advance the game. But alas, I could not. Either I had broken the game, or it had broken me. Either way, I can't beat Fallout 3 without attacking anything. Not this way. Well, I mean, there is one option left. See, I didn't have those button problems when I beat Fallout 3 as a baby. So, I guess that means we're going back to square one. I was born, changed nothing about my character from the defaults, including the name, and crawled to Dad. Then the game soft-locked itself or something because I couldn't move and Dad wouldn't talk. Off to a fantastic start. I reloaded a save and we're back in business. Special, this time around, is almost the same. Almost. Not for any reason other than the fact that I forgot what it was the last time around. The next step is to do what I did in my first baby playthrough, which is close the door as soon as it opens, and if done correctly, the next door will remain open and you'll have access to the hallway. Jump into the loving arms of the void, and your next objective will be to escape Vault 101. Those of you who were unhappy about me using console commands to speed up the game in my first Fallout 3 baby playthrough will probably enjoy my suffering in this run, because I'm not doing that this time. I play the game as a baby, at normal speed. I opened the Overseer's tunnel and met my old foe, the button. With bated breath, I pressed the E key, and the button activated. Out of the vault, I went to Megaton to speak to Lucas Sims. For some reason, when playing as a baby, you need to talk to him before you can use your Pip-Boy. I slowly ran towards Little Lamplight. I ain't fucking with no simulations. Timmy Nussbaum can stay in Tranquility Lane forever for all I care. On the way to Lamplight, I outran a Mr. Gutsy and nearly got fucked to death by 2 giant rad scorpions. Inside Little Lamplight, the first wall glitch worked easily, but the second proved to be a bit tougher because, as a baby, you can't jump as high as you can as an adult, or even a child, which makes getting into position more challenging, though it's not impossible. Also, for anyone wondering, it took me about 25 minutes to go from Megaton to Little Lamplight. The run through Vault 87 was rough, though not as bad as I expected because the super mutants with melee weapons sometimes missed due to you being so low to the ground. In one of my previous runs, the super mutants followed me and outnumbered Fox to such an extreme degree that they killed him. I didn't want that to happen this time, so I cheesed it. And what I mean by that is that as soon as I entered a new area, like the test labs for instance, I used the same quick save quick load technique I've used throughout this run. For whatever reason, that stopped the super mutants from following me. Then I snuck past the super mutants and centaurs, roaming the rooms and hallways on the way to Fox. I still couldn't speak to him, but I knew I'd be able to use the console to set him free, so I wasn't worried. After I activated aforementioned console, I ran into a room to seek shelter from a centaur that was whipping me with its tentacles. I save-scummed myself through a toilet, crouched, then waited until the centaur ran back to wherever the fuck it lived. Fox was finally free, and I followed him while he killed all the super mutants in his path. He retrieved the Gek for me. We parted ways. I was captured by the Enclave, President Eden called off his dog, and I leveled up twice. With 2 levels worth of skill points and the pacifist perk, my speech skill was up to 92. I ignored the Enclave soldiers that were lighting my ass up with their fancy laser pointers and reported to the president. I breathed a sigh of relief as I took the modified vial of FEV and made my escape. The last 2 Enclave soldiers proved formidable. One had a fully automatic laser pointer, and the other had a missile launcher, and he seemed to place no value on his own well-being, as he nearly blew off both my legs and my chest. Then he exploded me again right before I left. Nevertheless, I was back out into the wilderness, among the dead trees and the dead grass and the dead Enclave soldiers that had the misfortune of running into a super mutant with a minigun and a thirst for knowledge. Fox and I parted ways again, this time for the last time, and I was off to the Citadel. That was a lie. Remember what I said about Timmy Nussbaum earlier? That too was a lie. Timmy Nussbaum must die, so I decided that the war for the Capital Wasteland could be put on hold for a bit while I ensure that a child is killed by virtual communists. Inside Smith Casey's garage, I could actually press the button to get inside Vault 112. I spoke to the RoboBrain and did not get a Vault 112 jumpsuit. Instead, it told me that it was not at liberty to chat right now. I never even knew that was a thing it could say. I wasn't sure what to do next. Once I reached the loungers, I got the Scientific Pursuit quest, which made me think that I could return to the RoboBrain to get a jumpsuit, but that didn't work either. Then I thought that there might be more jumpsuits in the equipment room. Unfortunately, you need a science skill of 75 to hack the terminal to get in, and I did not have time for that. So I left, leaving Timmy Nussbaum trapped in Tranquility Lane. He got off easy as far as I'm concerned. After spending almost 20 minutes running in circles in Grey Ditch because I'm stupid, I arrived at the Citadel and... You've gotta be kidding me. The gate is still closed. I wanna die. Alright, okay. There's only one option. You might think that I could just run straight for the Jefferson Memorial and activate Project Purity myself. It worked in my No Pip-Boy run, why wouldn't it work here? Let me remind you that I'm a baby. Do you remember what happened in my Fallout 3 baby playthrough? No? Well, here's a reminder. And I can't reach the buttons. I can reach a few of them, but not the ones in the back. This means that I'll have to glitch my way into the Citadel again. To be honest with you, I was more annoyed doing it this time than I was last time. It wasn't really any harder, it just took longer because I'm a fucking midget. Inside the Citadel, I spoke to Sentinel Lyons and got a suit of power armor. Then I followed her and the rest of the gang outside to begin the final assault. Can you guess what happened next? The gate opening is just a formality, you see, because there's an invisible wall. I got lucky and thought of something before I broke out the Drano and started doing shots. Fast travel. When you fast travel to the Citadel, it places you outside the gate, and praise Todd Howard it worked. As you're well aware by now, I detest the part of Fallout 3 where you follow Liberty Prime, but because I moved so slowly, I could push the auto run key and do other stuff while I waited. Then Sentinel Lyons and I made our way inside the Jefferson Memorial. She's a shitty fighter, which is why I wanted my speech skill as high as possible. I ignored the Enclave soldiers and confronted Augustus Autumn. Even with speech at 100, I leveled up after I spoke to Elder Lyons in the Citadel. You only have a 63% chance of convincing Autumn to leave peacefully. I had to reload a save to successfully pass both speech checks, but I did. Then I sent Sarah Lyons inside the purifier to die, spammed baby noises as she died a painful death, and after wanting to die for the last few hours, beat Fallout 3 without attacking anything.
So cool. Oh,
that
man.
run was not fun. And that's going to do it for this video.
Oh man, he's going to be missed. We'll probably watch a few more videos over the week just to kind of pay tribute. But yeah, I'm going to go to bed. This is a fucking quiet, chill, beyond quiet, chill stream, so yeah. But yeah, I'm gonna get out. Thanks for Conrad for hanging out. Should be on tomorrow. I don't know, we'll see. I don't got anything going on, but I did want to try to do some stuff, so whatever. Alright, I'm out of here. Peace.